Mayor. We have our annual solid waste report. It's been completed and submitted to the state, and it'll be posted on the website for everybody to review. Our yearly water inventory has been completed for this year, and our crews have been spraying kudzu townwide. They've also been weeding in the native plant garden down behind the shop, and are continuing to mow townwide, getting ready for the leaf season that will be coming up. And finally, Barry and Michael Harrison will be attending a 3-day arborist training seminar down in Greensboro next week.
Questions for Steve? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just make one comment. Maybe Barry and Michael could have some involvement in the hemlock restoration project if they're going into arborist specialists. I mean, just to incorporate them into some of the work might be an idea if it works for everybody, just to have someone do it.
Yes, ma'am. Also, Barry is going for training to become an arborist, and we'll take that test sometime later this fall.
So he can do hemlock treatments?
So that'll all be part of that also.
Part of the Tree City?
Tree City.
Thanks.
Finance, Steve?
Try to shift hats here. Okay, you have your July 1st summary financial report as well as the detailed reports. And this is the first month of the fiscal year, so there's not much activity yet. Brought in $65,872 in general fund revenues, $159,856 in expenses. So for this first month of the year, there's a $93,000 deficit. That actually looks a lot better than the same time last year. In terms of the water fund, revenues of $36,754, which is slightly higher than the same time last year. Expenses of $8,813, so a surplus in July of $27,941. July is usually our best month of the year as far as revenues go. And then our cash and investments report as of August 31st. Total cash in all accounts, $1,724,355. We've earned $74.82. Interest rates are starting to trend up just a little bit. And again, this is usually around one time of the year as far as cash balances go.
I have some questions.
Back to the your first part of your report, where you said we're better than we were last year. I noticed that on public buildings, we've spent 95% of the budget, and this is the first month of the fiscal year, so I saw it looked like insurance.
Yeah, we always have big insurance bills right at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so was the cost less than budgeted in that we only spent 95%, or do we expect another bill on the insurance that might be needed out of this line item?
No, we pay them all right on July 1st.
Okay, now, and then group insurance, so is that we pay it quarterly or something? I know we spent 25% on group insurance, is that?
For, which are you referring to?
Let me back up. It may be the same question, that you pay in July, a quarterly payment maybe for group insurance?
No, all the group insurance, that's mostly Blue Cross, and that's paid monthly.
Monthly, okay, okay. On the streets, the only thing that was way over was that under streets, travel was at 153%. And is that, maybe that's paying for the upcoming training for the two, going to the training in Greensboro? Okay, that's what Steve's shaking his head, so you have to pay in advance for that. And I have a question related to sanitation. It shows we spent a bunch of money on trucks. Do we already have a problem with the old truck that we're using?
I think they just did some routine maintenance, and could they've gotten maybe
Yes, we had some brake problems we had to have fixed on it. It's
Well,
on its last leg.
okay, well, you keep those brakes working then. We all want that on the garbage truck and in every truck, so, okay. That's what I need to know, thank you.
Anything else?
The only other thing I had to say is the audit field work was completed the last week of August, so we still have some additional work to do after that, but that was the bulk of it.
Thank you. Building inspector and code administrator, David?
Thank you, Mayor. In the month of August, we had 2 zoning permit applications and 1 sign permit application, all of which were issued. There were 12 building permit applications, 21 building inspections requested, and 3 re-inspections, and 1 fire inspection that was required. One of those building permits is still pending, the others were issued at that time. We did have no P&Z meeting, planning and zoning, for the month of August, but the Board of Adjustment did meet, and as you can see, there were 2 variances that were requested and granted during that meeting. I was also asked by Mayor Pro Tem Standard about the Texas Spur Road property. There has been a couple of meetings, one of which I attended, between Mr.
Could
Burdett.
you be a little more specific on which property that
Okay,
that is?
there's actually 3 lots side by side. It's sort of been an intermingled project through the years. There's a property owned by Ann Gant. That is a house that has been sitting there partially completed with a foundation wall erected, but no further work has occurred in a number of years visibly. There's a shared driveway that had an engineered stormwater system under it that spans over the central lot, which is undeveloped as far as a house being built on it. And then there's an existing 3-story home on the left-hand lot that shared that driveway access as well as the stormwater system. I met with Mr. Burdett, the purchaser of the existing 3-story home, and also met with John Jordan up there, who is the owner of the middle lot that has been marketing that lot. And there were some issues outstanding as far as the stormwater system being completed and properly recorded with the Register of Deeds before I could close that permit out. He has assured me that he is in the process of doing that, has spoken with his attorney that handled the closing on the property to get that re-recorded and properly registered. There was also discussion between Mr. Burdett and Ann Gant about the house because he had concerns about it being a visible nuisance, and he has grandchildren that are visiting, that type of thing, and he asked permission to erect a wooden fence to keep them from being able to go over there freely. She agreed to let him do that and assured him that that project is still underway. She's trying to locate a builder that will take it on and complete the project. So as of now, it is still an open permit. There has not been any visible indication, as everyone knows, of anything else going on. But according to North Carolina state law, if a property owner has an open permit and they state to me that I'm talking to architects, I'm talking to builders, I'm doing behind the scenes work, I cannot cause the permit to be closed out. So that's the status of that project.
I think you need to add one thing there on it, that the erosion that's happening on the middle and the other they've been talked about. Mr. Jordan needs to do something there.
Yes, I met at the meeting on the property. There was also the engineer, Mike Anderson, who engineered that stormwater system. Mr. Burdett asked Mike his opinion as an engineer about what could be done to try to mitigate some of that impact. Mike expressed concern that there was some erosion that was going on the right-hand side as you're looking down the driveway off the bank that would need to be repaired, but on the left-hand side there were some things that he suggested that were actually in the original plan that could be done to deal with the stormwater that's coming down that side of the driveway. So it's my understanding that Mr. Burdett and Mr. Jordan were going to coordinate on who was going to be responsible for doing which portion of that.
Thank you, David. Now's the time for public comment. Comment is for items that are on the agenda. So give your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Okay, under old business, we have a resolution confirming assessment roll and levying assessments. Upper Kentucky Road, Phase 1, Neighborhood Street Assessment. Have a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 15-09-01, confirming the assessment roll and levying assessments, Upper Kentucky Road, Phase 1, Neighborhood Street Assessment.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to
Thank the staff who've spent so many hours working on this over 4 years maybe. Putting all, this is sort of the first project of this type that's occurred in Montreat. So we've got this one under our belt, and if you've not had the opportunity to go up and see that at the very top of Montreat at Peace and Providence, go on up and take a look at it. It's beautiful. It's well done. The lots for the Eckert and Schlickenmeyer families are just beautiful up there, and we look forward to them completing their plans and joining the Montreat family and contributing to the property tax base here in Montreat. Thanks a lot. Any other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
It's 5 in favor and none opposed. Hooray. We've been talking about sanitation, and we did a sort of stopgap with the station at the dump at the gate. We found we were getting too much garbage there that did not belong there. And I was particularly aware of what our staff has to go through crawling in those dumpsters with all that garbage to take out things that don't belong there. So we've had the staff put together some information for us to discuss tonight, and we'll have some more information, I think, probably for next month as well. Ron, you want to start?
Certainly, Mayor. Of course, Barry Creasman and Steve Freeman are here. We may have to end up tag teaming you. We all three contributed to the facts and figures and writing that's in your packet tonight. So what I'll probably do is just start with the summary. Again, at your August 13th meeting, you asked us to further research the options and costs for the alternative service delivery recommendations made at your August 11th meeting. I point this out every time somebody talks to me about sanitation, that, you know, there were several variations or combinations to these alternatives. I don't know when you're dealing with sanitation if there's any, you know, just one solution that will solve everything. Especially based on the challenges that we're looking at. And again, some of those challenges are tougher. Again, I think what the board did, which was to sort of close the site to public access, except for the pay-as-you-throw, has worked. It's reached its desired effect. So we are happy to see that. Let me just cover that first, that makes sense. During May, of course, the board decided from June through August we would be open Tuesday through Friday down there 1 to 5, 4 hours, and then on Saturday from 7 to 12. We staffed that with a sanitation employee in a pay-as-you-throw manner, meaning that it was open to the public during those times, but of course visitors had to pay for the use of the compactor site. What we recorded as far as public usage is that most users that we ever received was 11, and that was on Saturday, July 18th. On average, we received 4 visitors per day, which includes Saturdays. During the work week, we only averaged 3 visitors per day. Of course, the most usage are on Saturdays. The highest number of users were recorded during that first week after the site was opened, which of course makes sense. And then, of course, the week of July 4th, we just had a tremendous number of people, as you all know, here during the July 4th weekend, or week. It has since then received very little use after August 8th. Since June 16th, we had 214 total visitors to the site. And while not reflected in the numerical data presented, during the heaviest times, our staff person would ask visitors or residents, you know, why they were using it, why they chose to use the site. And for those that responded, it was primarily due to the fact that the rental homes they were staying in did not have enough cans or did not have a bear-proof container. the most number of bags, these sort of run all together, the most number of bags that were disposed on any single day was 30. Again, that was Saturday, July 18th. Folks disposed an average of 8 bags per day. Saturday's average was a little higher, of course, at 14. The site received very few bags. Again, it goes with the same number of the usage after August 8th. And they disposed a total of 465 bags of solid waste and recyclables at the site. Revenue, of course, we did not expect, and I'll say this up front, we did not expect for the revenues to pay for putting someone down there for the site, so we knew that we were not going to get that much revenue off of this. We generated roughly about $938 since opening on June 16th. We averaged about $17 a day, and again, we generated very little revenue since August 8th. We averaged only $14.18 during the work week, and during Saturdays we averaged about $28. The total, the highest day was $61 on that July 18th. So again, it all ran with that one day. Just to let you know, for the week, I think it's about a little over $400 in personnel costs to keep the site open during the week. During that time period of June through August, the town collected 85.9 tons of solid waste. During that same period in 2015, we collected 76.52. So the temporary service plan, we feel, has provided the town a savings in disposal fees as well as hauls, and we believe the savings corresponds directly to the changes made at the site, and comes despite having one of the busiest July 4th weeks in recent memory. It'll be interesting to see how this continues as we move into the winter. In summary, Steve feels that the temporary service plan for the compactor site is having its desired effect in the reduction of municipal solid waste, illegal dumping, and unauthorized use. It's also resolved staff's concern with the safety and liability of the site to the general public, as well as our own employees. If you've ever had to see Barry fishing around in a compactor, it's a scary thing. However, the personnel cost to operate the site exceeds the revenue generated and the savings realized during the first 3 months of the operation. While initially usage was high, we've seen a decline since the first week of August. It leads us to believe that if you were to keep this site open, June and July are your 2 top months. Again, very few people, when you compare that to the total number of visitors in our community, are using the site now. So from the information and data collected at the site, Steve says that it supports the closing the compactor site to the general public, encouraging the use of curbside sanitation collection services, and increasing our education efforts. So what we did is we then took that information and developed the cost estimates for alternatives. And this is on our website and also here in your packet, so I'm not going to read every single thing to you. What I will do is just cover the alternatives and the total costs. The first alternative, since we do offer a higher level of service than most of our neighboring cities and towns, we do recognize that our service is labor intensive and more expensive, and consideration should be given to upgrading the truck to a small compactor truck at a cost of around $120,000. We would change our weekly pickups to 2 days during the summer months. Or I'm sorry, that's not a change. But we would have to split the town perhaps, so some thought needs to be taken into that consideration. And we would take the trash directly to the landfill. The cost of the compactor truck is $120,000, as I said. Spread that over a 5-year payment, it's $26,000 per year. We did find some bags. Brought a few examples with me. Those are the imprinted bags.
Where are we gonna buy them?
We have the vendor listed here. long talk with the vendor about this program. Some cities have quite a bit of success with this program. Some have gone to the bag system completely in order to sort of reduce the amount of solid waste. So we have that information that we'll soon make available to people as we put it on the website. The startup cost for the imprinted bag system, and again, our idea was that for folks who just really needed to use the compactor site, that we would have a holding area. They could buy the bags, put the trash in the bags, come down to town hall, and we would open the little holding area and put the bags in there. Again, we're not getting much usage there, and the bags would pay for themselves, so it would be recovered through the sales of the bag. And I believe it was, there were 5 bags per box or something like that. So that is a thought that y'all, or an option that y'all could consider. The second alternative was to sort of continue in our same manner. Of course, it does not address one of our largest concerns, which is that it's very labor intensive to handle the garbage twice and recycling twice. That's to replace the existing truck at $16,500 a year over a 5-year period. Again, we would also recommend a bag system for those people who would like to throw trash or who missed their trash pickup at their box. And again, an $8,500 cost to do the bag system that is not a true cost that we recovered through the sale of the bags. Alternative 3 was to eliminate curbside collection and develop a safe and efficient convenience center, which actually, after looking at this, turned out to be one that I was sort of excited about. It looked like this actually had the largest potential for cost savings to the town, but we all recognize that most of our folks are used to the traditional service that you get for your tax dollar through sanitation services. So this would be the hardest to educate folks on that this is a good idea. This resolves our concern that the existing system is labor intensive. We would have to do a lot of work. We still need to do a lot of work on this option if you want to proceed down this road, because this is a tough one, and we need to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row if we choose to go down here. And one of the reasons I say that is because it's very hard for us to determine if we have enough space to make this work down at the town services building.
Just a quick question, Ron. Since you would continue to offer backdoor service, that would mean you'd still have to have trucks?
We'd still have
So, I mean, that's...
We'd have a smaller
problem with
truck.
This one.
Right, a smaller truck.
Okay, but you would still
but
have capital outlay for that.
You would still have a capital outlay, and we might even, depending on how many people were serviced, we still may be able to use a smaller or a larger pickup truck, but we would have to see. Again, the idea behind this is that people would come down to the town services office and throw everything away down there. We would use a bag system or tag system. People would have access to it, and if you still want a back door for those that are disabled, elderly, we would still provide that service for a fee. So you would pay for us, we would come to your back door, pick up the garbage, just like we do now for folks.
How many back door?
I'm sorry?
How many back door?
30 back door?
30.
30 back door.
Ron, with option 1,